Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the series of Baatein. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas who are impacting society through art. So, enjoy this episode.
Hello.
Hi Vinod, how are you?
Hi, Varun. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my first experience. I'm just quite curious and excited as well.
Yeah. So Vinod, I have known you since a long time. Tell us how this journey of mime and theater, how it all started.
Uh, okay. So I think so. I've been a big fan of Charlie Chaplin and Marcel Marceau or Mr. Bean. So in my childhood days, I used to enjoy all this Tom and Jerry, Charlie Chaplin. They're all wordless, fun series, right? So I used to enjoy those. But I never knew that over a period of time I would be doing something in mime. But I think in my college days is when I think I started being part of almost in the end of last final year of my graduation. Started being part of some of the fun theater acts. That's when I figured out, okay, there is something. I get some kind of energy every time people cheer or clap. A lot of great feedback. So then I thought, okay, there is something good. Felt really good. So I need to explore this more, explore more of this. So that's when I thought. So I continued doing that in my college days. Then when I thought of taking up professionally is when I was looking out for some workshops that's happening around. As you mentioned, then I found Evam Entertainment. So that's like my first stepping stone for professional theater. So in that I found a really good, great bunch of talented guys. The team was really good. It's very fun and also very creative bunch of people. So we formed a group called as Shadowlights Entertainment. So that's how I was part of putting up plays. So they're all proscenium theater or so the usual theater, but it was fun, really creative scripts and working with that particular team. But over a period of time, I also thought, okay, fine, this is. So my heart felt, okay, I need to do something in terms of mime because that's where it kept pulling me towards. So that's how I formed I found some really great, talented bunch of people again who were interested in doing mime along with me. So we formed this Emoticons Theater. We put up a few shows, more like an experiment to see how people receive mime. So we did, our first show was WhatsApp Us. So we kind of went to the finals and also we won Best Concept Award. So the first show itself receiving such a great response was really inspiring. So we never stopped from there on. So I think that gave us a good start to really put up multiple shows every year and then so here we are.
All right, but I have also tried mime. I just want to know what is the difference between mime and voice theater? How is it different?
So I think there is a lot of differences in usual vocal theater and mime. The first thing is of course the dialogues. So you can also use the props and you have a lot of freedom to do a lot of creative stuff. You can either use props or you can mime the props or you can use dialogues or you can use a lot of gestures. So there is no boundaries in terms of the performances. But mime, you have certain limitations. So when I say limitations, you cannot use your words. So but you have more powerful instrument with you, which is your body. So it's that's the main key difference. But I think when it comes to mime, it's how you really use your body to a really great extent to put up a story. You don't have dialogues, but so you don't have props as well. But the beauty of the mime is you recreate the reality. So for the audience, you kind of put up the entire world, which looks real to them, and so that's the beauty of mime. So you kind of recreate the entire world.
So when you told Mime is all about movements and all, I have seen Marcelo or Tony Brown or Charlie Chaplin. They use a lot of body movements. So is Mime also involved that you have to go into the character like any other platform, like films or how they prepare for the character? Does Mime also involve in getting into the character?
Yes, a lot. So you have to really get deep into the character. So unlike every other plays or acts, you kind of work on the characterization. Many of my workshop, one of the key aspect is the characterization piece of it. In mind, you can actually, in fact, become. It's not just a human character. You can also become any living being on this earth, or even non-living object on this earth. And so, in a mime, you can become a butterfly, you can become a bird, you can become any animal, you can become old man without any makeup, you can become a young baby without even any setup. So there's a lot of characterization involved, and so it's a different process. Like everything has a process. This also is a process where you make people think, come up with a story, the experiences, and you prepare your body to really adapt to that particular character, and you become one of that particular character or any of the object or living being. So yes, it's even more in terms of characterization. So it's more deep, I would say.
Uh, so who was your inspiration? Like who do you look up to when it comes to Mime?
When it comes to mime, of course, it's Master Masu. He is the father of modern mime. So while we had all this, the Greek and Roman had this commedia dell'arte, and so there were a lot of performances happening on similar lines. But I think Master Masu defined this particular modern mime. He gave it the form, the way it is, the language and things like that. So apart from that, if I have to look at mime, so a lot of people, so anyone who can really present something beautifully with just a bit of even a poetry or a painting, or an artist who paints something and gives you a lot of picture in your head. So all of these are kind of inspirational to me, or I can say they all are role models to really do something beautiful with certain aspects with you, and it actually builds a lot of discipline as well.
And also, you have been closely associated with NGOs, Giftable, and all many other. So, was it a part of the process when you were forming theatre community, or it just happened along the way?
It's both actually. It's a process as well. It's happened along the way, but also it's more to do with the willingness, and I think the NGO work or the social services and all of it. So while it has been more to do with the way my life, my experiences, the growing up, all of this has contributed to a lot of the way I think. The majority of it I would like to contribute, or I would say it's come from my college days. Of course, Christ University and CSA, Center for Social Action. So I think the way the way I see things, approach certain things, I would say a lot credit goes to CSA and the time I spent over there. It's a student initiative NGO, so I think it changed a lot. So from there on, I think whenever it comes to community service, I think the approach and the willingness, it just comes. So I think that's how I found Giftable Foundation without even thinking. I said yes, but I figured out that it's one of the wonderful organization, and of course Prarthana Unlakar, who is the founder of Giftable Foundation, has been very inspirational. The kind of work that they do is really amazing. So that's how I think the association with that foundation has been very strong, and has come so far. And not just that, I think so. We've also done quite a few awareness program as part of DSI Cancer Research Center. We did quite a few cancer awareness programs. So Isha Foundation has been doing a lot of really amazing stuff in terms of it was Rally for Rivers, now it's Kaveri Calling. So whenever an opportunity comes and I feel okay, it's really amazing and it's going to help benefit for a better tomorrow. I think I think each one of us have to do that. We have to be part of it. And if I'm utilizing this beautiful art form in a good purpose, I think that's a better way to do it.
True, true, true. When I see mime, what is the significance of white paint when where they apply on the face?
Okay, white
What does
paint.
it? Yeah.
Yes. So it's not necessary that you have to use white paint to do mime. So there are a lot of mime acts which has been done without white paint. Um, but I think this particular white paint and the white gloves and all of them really elevate the expression. So when you just give a smile, it does you can get the smile, but with the white paint, and if you just give the smile, it actually becomes tenfold. The expressions elevates, and so because you're using your body and the expressions a lot, and that's the only means to connect with the people. So these are some of the additional stuff that we use to really make it more larger and nicer and very appealing to the audience. So yeah, so that's about the white paint. It's on white, yeah.
More of putting on mask or removing the mask of one's own character when you put paint or mask as a character.
Uh, yeah. So for the character, so like I said, the white paint or the clown white that we use is not really essential. We can do without that. But of course, like I said, it's going to elevate. From the characterization perspective, of course, you can really play around with that. So you can have thick eyebrows or raised eyebrows if the character is going to be very excited, angry, or if it's a very negative character, you can have its own features the way the director wants or the way the script demands. So you can really have those to really make it have. So instead of there are a lot of mask theater, right? So likewise, you can also play around with the face mask that we use to really make the character even more stronger.
So you have directed so many plays and street plays. So what are the challenges you face when you're directing these plays, and do you feel the need of having a professional artist for this kind of art form?
Yeah, so it is challenging because you definitely need a director or someone who can guide you, because I've done my own solo stuff, but I definitely need someone to review and tell me how it looks, because it's all you and your body, so you can really present and work it out. It's always good to have someone who can guide and keep telling so how everything is coming up. So one way I do it is I record and then I do it. So that is one thing. But when someone has to learn mime and then present something using mime, so you definitely need some kind of guidance. So it's not difficult. It could be easy, but it's just that certain things really take some time. So like everything else, this also requires a lot of involvement and being in it and start practicing. So over a period of time, you kind of get that into you and become as experienced as possible. So that is one of the thing. And because it's just us and the body and the character or the thing that you're presenting, it's again where you kind of be so involved. You try to observe the character or the situation or start feeling, and so you start presenting, and you have to have such a great control over your body and your thought and mind. So it's like a Zen factor. So you need to really be present. You have to know the surrounding. You have to know yourself, your inner self, and the outer space and the people. So then you start presenting something. So all of this, you need someone to really guide and direct them. So for me as a director, if you ask me what is challenging, is to help people unlearn stuff. That's my first thing, because each of them will have their own habits. So they have some kind of gestures. The body is stiff because of the activity that they do regularly or the way they are, or they would have learned certain style of, say, walking or talking, or when they're just quiet, either they're just moving their fingers or just hopping on their feet. So all of this is kind of a habit. So they'll have certain habits, right? So first thing is, how do I ensure that they unlearn those and so start focusing, change being themselves to something else, or if it's a body, or if it's some other being, or if it's some other individual or character. So that's the next process. But first thing is to really help them unlearn, and then make it really flexible for them to really move to the next process.
Uh, how much time would it take for anybody to learn this art form?
Anybody who's willing and who would like to learn. So again, it's depends on person to person. So some of them who, what I've found is based on my experience. If someone who's into dance or who's into any flexible art form like martial arts, anyone, so they are quite fast in picking up the movements. So they don't have too much of barriers or restrictions. But others take more time. But it's not like certain people can't do it. Everyone can do mime. It's just that how much you're willing to do and how much you really try to practice it and how much you put efforts. So based on that, over a period of time, you will get it. So so it depends on the person to person. Yeah.
And as far as I have seen, do you think this art form is diminishing through the society, or people are unaware of this art form?
Yes. So there are a lot of mime artists, but there are very few mime companies.
Yeah.
So I think there's some need to really make this more popular. So we do see a lot of mime events or mime competition that happens in the colleges, but after that, professionally, we don't see much. So there are good things happening in theatre. So I know there are a lot of not so great thing that's happening around the world. So it's good to talk about some good things. So good things are there are a lot of new theatre groups coming up. There are a lot of events and activities happening in arts field. People are becoming well aware of arts and are trying to pursue arts. So which is a good thing. So I think it's also important that we kind of bring back certain some of our lost art forms. So one of it is mime. So it might look simple, or it might look okay. So without dialogues, is it fun? But I think once you start experiencing it, and once you start doing it, and once the audience experience it, I think they start getting it. So so we as a group, we're trying some efforts to really put this across to people to know, let them know, okay, what is art form, what is mime art form, and how does it look like. So we've been receiving really great comments from the audiences, everyone who comes to our shows. So we've been receiving great response for mime. But I think we need more of people and groups who can start practicing mime and then putting up mime shows. So I think that's going to build some strong foundation for mime, at least to start with in Bangalore, and then maybe you can just go ahead and then progress it across India and maybe the world. So there are a few centers that's focusing on mime across the world, but I think we need more of them. I think. So I would like to quote one of Marcel Marceau's dream or his visualization to see so the mime art to become as popular as the dance forms. So I think that's what we need to get to, because mime is not a dance form. It's not a complete theatre form. It's somewhere in between. So it's beautiful. It's kind of use body languages, and it's also try to present stories. But it's not new for us. So we have mudras, or we have classical dancers which tell stories. But this has its own grammar and discipline, where it kind of puts up a story very beautifully and very impactfully, and it also uses the basic reality stuff in our movement art form. So it's kind of it's the audience who are part of our presentation, who kind of process it in their head, and then they kind of build their stories. And so yeah, so that's how it is. So I think it's essential that we need to make people more aware of this, experience it, and get the beauty of this beautiful art form.
So, how can this art help adults or children? How can they implement this art form in their life? And not only as a performance wise, but also life wise, can it improve one's life by practicing this art?
Uh, yes, so because it's a lot to do with your expressions and the body language, for kids to adults, for everyone, I think it's really good that you kind of practice this as a foundation for your body movements, having control over your body, because anything that you do, right? So over a period of time, you might have to present something. It could be just a corporate presentation, or it could be just talking to the public. It could be any theater or art presentation or anything. So I think it's also very important that how do you take control of your body, right? Body language is one of the important communication piece that every corporate or every school, college, or any art form or institute will stress a lot on your body languages. So I think this will help you to figure out what is your body habits, or what's your strength, what's your limitation in terms of body, and how do you really utilize to its maximum capacity. And also be conscious of how you can really present it in more impactful way, how you present yourself to the public or the outside world in a very impactful way. I think that way it's going to definitely help a bigger group.
You know, while I was growing up, I have seen so many silent movies of Charlie Chaplin and all these people. You know, they have their own significance. So, are you planning on, bringing back that genre to this time? Are you planning on directing such kind of movies in future? Is there any plan of that?
Yeah, so I keep dreaming about it. But yeah, so technically I'm very not that great in terms of the movies and all of it. I for some reason I need people for me to present. But of course I kind of have a lot of thoughts on making some movies or short movies or some visual presentation digital media. So there are ideas and plans. So maybe if I find the right team and the right ideas, I think I should be able to do that. But yeah, so to answer your questions, I have a lot of thoughts running in my head. So maybe someday, hopefully, we all come alive.
So, in these challenging times, are you conducting any workshops for the people?
Uh, Not workshops as such, but so we've conducted a lot of workshops for adults, artists, children, corporates. Um, but so now we have something that is planned. Maybe you can watch out next week sometime. So we're going to launch a series of videos. It's more like mime tutorials. So whatever I've learned, I'm going to put that up on YouTube. So there's going to be more like a library for anyone to go back and then refer some of my videos to really. It's going to be from the basic. So I would like to keep it more technical and theoretical, but because it's someone, if I want to make it more simpler for all of them to utilize it, so I'm going to make it more practical, functional. But I would definitely like to put across a lot of technical and theory and the background of the mime as well as when I get time. So that's the whole idea of this series of videos I'm going to present. So you can watch out. I would request all of them who are watching to watch out for the space. So there's going to be series of videos. It's going to be more fun. You can practice it yourself. You can try to utilize that and maybe also impress anyone with the mime art.
So, guys, if you want to impress, you have to learn mime. So, before we end this, tell us where can people reach up to you?
Okay, so we're on Facebook, Instagram. We also have YouTube channel. There's not much videos in it, but so like I said, next week onwards you might find some of them. You can start seeing some of our videos. So Emoticons Theater, Theater is the spelling. So Emoticons Theater. So you can search that on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So you can find us over there. You can follow us. We would be posting all the events and anything that happens from Emoticons Theater. You can find us over there. So we would be open for any feedback, anything that you want to comment, you want us to do, you want us to try out, you want to challenge us. You can challenge us with any stories. We will definitely try to do that particular piece without using a single word. So yeah, that's mine.
Well, really, thank you so much, Vinod, for sharing your knowledge and enlightening us with what this beautiful art is. Hope to see you soon, doing more shows and workshops in the coming future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you, Varun and Trifid Media for this wonderful opportunity. I think this has been my first experience and it's been wonderful going live with you and sharing my experiences and thoughts around mine. And I think this is again another great stuff, an experience for me and my team, Emoticons Theater, and this is going to be wonderful. And I think it's good to have this around this time, and hope some of you have got some kind of knowledge about mine, and I hope you all try and watch out some of the videos that we're going to post. Thank you, Varun, and Media.